It's outside of the Overton window sometimes.
The Overton window?
So the Overton window is the range of accepted political ideas in the public sphere. So if you want to say, like, let's say at the very far right end of the spectrum, you're going to have the build that wall, and that's in the Overton window. And then on the left side of the spectrum, you're going to have the Bernie Sanders type thing. And although the majority of mainstream media will try to tell you that Bernie's ideas are way too radical and way too wild, they're actually still on, like, they're on the fringe of the Overton window, but that Overton window has shifted dramatically in the course of the last, like, 30 years or so.
Yeah.
So what used to be considered a center-left idea is now wildly left, and everything else has been shifted to the right. So that's why you'll get people like Joe Biden, who, honestly, I don't understand how he's a Democrat. And, like, in terms of his ideas,
I don't know what he doesn't really convey anything other than cluelessness to me.
Exactly. And so to have somebody like him be considered on the left, even though none of his ideas seem to go inside with that at all.
You're insinuating that he has any ideas.
Well, he doesn't.
Yeah. He doesn't.
And he's been on the wrong side of literally every single issue. Yeah. We could go fucking bar for bar on every single thing that he's been wrong on.
Biden is just he's just the easiest target. I can't believe
that.
And
I picked him as an easy target.
Yeah, he's so easy.
But yeah, that Overton window, people don't realize it, but, like, the acceptable political ideas has shifted so dramatically that ideas that, like, back in FDR's time were, like, normal ideas, Social Security and all these other things that were, like, you know, that was, like, the new idea. Now they're considered, like, oh, fringe. Like,
yeah, I don't know when did that happen.
It's been a slow shift of I think it really dramatically started shifting after Bill Clinton deregulated the Telecommunications Act of 1996, I think it was.
Yeah.
And when he did that, it created media consolidation where all of these corporations were able to buy up. You know, you used to have a bunch of different radio stations. Now it's like you have Clear Channel that owns the majority of these things, and then you have only 6 companies that own the majority of the media that you're consuming. So they then control what's actually officially allowed, even if, you know, you have these, like, ultra liberal people within these spheres. What's actually allowed to be aired is still stuck within this Overton window.
Yeah, that's
for the most part.
I've never heard of this.
Yes, and I'm not making it up.
It's I don't think you're making it up.
It's a common. It's like a you know, it's a known like idea. But the concept is that, like, what we're seeing now and what is being framed as radical is actually not even that radical.
No, it doesn't feel radical. Like, just as a lay person, I'm not, like, a political expert. I'm not a financial expert. These things, they feel like normal reactions to how the world is changing.
Yes. I mean, yeah, we have automation, so we're losing a ton of jobs, and we're not exactly gaining them back. People who are truck drivers are not going to suddenly become an astronaut or an engineer.
No.
That's just not going to happen. So, you know, what do we do for these people? And these radical ideas of basic income, which Andrew Yang has been proposing,
which, for the record, I think about how much the relief that $1,000 a month would give me.
Dude, dramatic.
Like, I just think like, oh, if my work paid me $1,000 more a month, I was just like, it would be just a totally different story.
It would be. And not to mention, so an extra $1,000 a month would be game changing for the majority of Americans, which the majority of Americans have less than $500 in their savings.
Yep.
And 90% of Americans have less than $1,000.
Yeah.
So we're talking nobody's got emergency funds at this point.
I've just gotten out of that. Like, I never had, basically, until I got married, I had zero savings.
Yep.
And so any calamity that would occur, whether small or big, it would just ruin me.
Yes. And that's how the majority of Americans are right now, which is why I'm concerned about the economy as a whole, because although the stock market's doing great, that means rich people are doing great. That doesn't mean regular people are doing great.
I don't feel the greatness
coming
on me.
Me neither. America's still not great. I don't know what Trump's trying to do.